Hello everyone, and in today's video we're going to make a big meal. Turkey with broccolini, potatoes, gravy, cranberry sauce, and pumpkin pie. You can see from the name it has a lot of different stuff, like seasoning the broccolini, making the gravy and cranberry sauces, making the pie crust and filling for the pumpkin pie, and cooking the turkey. So this is going to be one you're going to want to watch in full. By the way, this is a special too. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. So, without further ado, subscribe, support a small channel, and let's get into the video. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our cut up butter and we're going to put it in the food processor. We're going to add in a half a cup of flour. Now we're going to pulse it until the butter and flour mix. Stop. Now we're going to add in a half a teaspoon of salt into this flour. Now we're going to put this into the food processor a half a cup at a time.
By the way, you're going to add it in a half cup at a time. So you're going to go like pulse, half cup, pulse, half cup.
Now that we're done adding in and pulsing the flour, we're going to add in a third of a cup of ice water. Now that it's beginning to form a ball, we're going to take it and prepare it for the refrigerator. Of flour, most beautiful substance in the universe. If I can make everyone flour, then it will be a beautiful world. Where are the infinity stones? I must find them to turn the world into flour.
Caramelizes down. It's super fragrant and very, very sweet.
So now that we took the pie crust from our food processor, I made it into kind of a brick shape. What we're gonna do right now is we're gonna cut it in half and then put the halves in plastic wrap. Now we're gonna put the two halves in the freezer for around 30 minutes. Now that that's in the freezer, we're gonna move on to our cranberry sauce. First thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna take 3/4 a cup of water and put it into this pan. Now we're gonna add in to the water 3/4 a cup of sugar. Now we're gonna mix that together. Now we're gonna take this saucepan and put it at the stove and set the stove to medium high. Now that that's on the heat, we're gonna mix it until it boils. Now that it's boiling, we're gonna take it off the heat and add in the cranberries. Now we're gonna bring this back over here and wait until the cranberries start to pop. Now that these are done popping, we're gonna let this cool for around 10 minutes and then put it in the refrigerator. Now we're gonna preheat the oven to 375 and set it to bake. You can see the cranberry sauce has cooled off. We're gonna go put that in the refrigerator and we're gonna move on to the turkey. There isn't much to say about the turkey. It's already seasoned with salt, pepper, and some kind of oil. So all we really need to do is we're gonna put it in the oven for an hour and 30 minutes. Now that the turkey's in the oven, let's move on to the filling of our pie. The first step is we're gonna add in 3/4 a cup of sugar into this bowl. Next, we're gonna add in a half a teaspoon of salt to the sugar. Now we're also gonna add in a half a teaspoon of ginger. We're also gonna add in a half a teaspoon of cloves. Now we're gonna add in a teaspoon of cinnamon. Now we're gonna add in a half a teaspoon of pumpkin spice. We're also gonna add in a half a teaspoon of nutmeg. Now we're gonna crack 2 eggs into this bowl. Now we're gonna whisk the eggs together in this bowl. Now we're gonna add in the 2 eggs to the sugar. We're also gonna add in 12 ounces of evaporated milk. Now from a pumpkin pie video that we made a while ago, we still have 2 cups of pumpkin puree. So we're gonna add that in. This pumpkin puree we didn't buy at the store though. We made it ourselves from sugar pumpkins. Now we're gonna move on to prepping our broccolini. Now you might remember we did this a few videos ago, but the first step is we're gonna pour our broccolini into this bowl. Now we're gonna add our olive oil. Now we're gonna mix it together with our hands. Now we're also gonna add some pepper, salt, and garlic salt. Set this aside. We're gonna come over here and get ready to do our rolling. So you see this pie pan? We're gonna wanna do this until it's about an inch bigger than the pie pan. Now that we've roughly got this into a circle shape, we're gonna fold it and put it in the pan. So now that we got all of the pie crust in the pan, we're gonna pour in our filling. This is gonna be a good pie. I guarantee it's gonna be a great We're gonna add this into an oven that's 400 degrees for 10 minutes. Then we're gonna lower it to 350 for 15 minutes. Now that the pie's in the oven, let's move on to our potatoes. Now let's put this pan on medium high. Now let's add olive oil to the pan. Let's cut our potatoes. Let's start with cutting them sideways. Now we're gonna cut our quarters into pieces. Now that we've cut all of our potatoes, let's add them into this pan. Now we're gonna add in salt, pepper, and garlic onto our potatoes. While that's sizzling, let's move on to our whipped cream. Add in a cup of heavy whipping cream. Now let's whip until it gets stiff. Now that we've whipped it until it got stiff peaks, we're gonna add in a half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now we're gonna add in 1.5 teaspoons of sugar. Now let's add in a bit of lemon juice. Now let's mix that up. We set our whipped cream in the refrigerator. Now we're gonna make our gravy. What we did is we took the remains from when we cooked the turkey, added a slice of butter, and now we're gonna add a spoonful of flour to make a roux. Now, our air fryer is preheating to 400. Now let's pour ourselves some apple cider. It's time for the taste test. Start with the turkey. Good. Broccolini. Very good. Potatoes. Really good. Now let's move over here and try the cranberry sauce. And a bit of pumpkin pie with whipped cream. That's good. That's really good. That's amazing.